Your customer and employee experiences should be continually revamped to make them more outcome-focused. If your sales growth, employee and customer NPS and CSAT scores are not going to suffer. Well, what do I mean? We know all of your channels of engagement with your customers and employees must be consistent from a UX design, functionality, branding, and streamlined process perspective. That's what Gartner calls total experience. So today, it's not just about content. It's about delivering consumable experiences that simplify what an employee needs to do. For example, all of my approvals in one place from various applications, or only showing content that's relevant to me at this time. And the same goes for a consumer. The truth is, delivering a total experience, which is the goal, can be hard. According to Gartner's research, 64% of customer-facing employees say that unnecessary effort prevents them from delivering a high-quality experience for their customers. For example, there are too many silos, changing systems to enable a consistent omni experience, especially if customer solutions are used. They're often brittle, slow to evolve as your landscape changes. Well, there is a better way, and it's called Multi-Experience DXP. And I'm here to tell you about that today. So Multi-Experience DXP enables you to realize your total experience goals enshrined in the notions such as platform ideas such as empowering employees through tools and approaches that result in the creation of rich self-service experiences, including catering to tech-savvy users. It's also about reducing that experience friction points by visualizing and redesigning consumer and employee journeys for optimal outcomes on a channel of their choosing. Also, it's about leveraging journey mapping approaches for employees such as onboarding, promotion, or life events such as the birth of a child to ensure the personalization of content, services, and application, and even workflows that increase relevancy and loyalty. Lastly, total experience is about the ability to turn the enterprise's mission to service enable everything. You've heard about the API economy, those apps, processes, and content into great moments of engagement that delight your stakeholders, your employees, your citizen consumers, or patients easily. So let's take a look at a practical example of a total experience strategy in the next couple of slides. For total experience to work, it must have a defined global goal and a business outcome statement such as, we need to reduce time taken for our customers to raise and settle a claim, perhaps within a certain time period, or streamline how customers make self-service appointments in an auto insurance example, maybe with a repair shop. Actually, putting some value and some metrics against this is essential. This is where most people start their journey with a new insurance company, the customer portal. All of the principles I mentioned are deployed to create great outcomes. It's a consistent design experience that makes navigating to outcomes such as booking a repair really simple. It also offers chatbots or ways to alternately communicate with a call center rather than waiting in a phone queue for the next agent to turn up. And it's also about trying to understand what type of other services, either new ones or aggregating existing services, to make that self-service experience for your customers or employees' lives much easier, which translates into increased renewals, referrals, and ultimately a true marketing weapon. So now let's look at an insurance company's mobile app. I'm sure you have one of these too. After becoming a customer of an auto insurance company, perhaps your next action may be to download the insurer's mobile app. To make this app a super app in the minds of users, this self-service experience on mobile needs to integrate with your enterprise systems, your employees or agents in the contact center, and the extended enterprise for supplier information or services partners, in this case, as I mentioned, a repair shop. It's not a signpost of links. It's a truly integrated experience that redefines or streamlines processes to save a user's time or worry from a complex process. Plus, it enshrines great design to make it usable by millennials and baby boomers alike. You don't want your first claim to be a bad experience for your mobile app. This is also a place to take advantage of digitization opportunities, maybe digitizing traditional, very much paper-based artifacts like insurance certificates that can be easily stored and offered to the customer via the mobile app. Now imagine going one step further. Your insurer knows about your life events. For example, maybe you've got kids. Now they're about to drive. What if you knew about and planned this journey ahead of time and you were able as a marketer to make an offer specifically to them to get 10% off at a local driving school? Wouldn't that want you coming back for more? So we haven't forgotten about it. Let's talk about the agent portal. It could be an employee portal for that matter. In reality, you can see the day in the life of an agent. We'll call her Sylvia. You see her appointments, her outstanding quotes, her sales targets by insurance type in real time, no matter where she's taking customer calls or chatting or making outbound calls to prospective customers. All the information she needs to conduct her business and provide a high level of service are at her fingertips. You can also see a personalized reminder for a sales campaign that they're running, a 20% offer to her premium accounts. She has 36 hours to act upon it. You can also see a personalized reminder for her to push the new 20% offer to her premium accounts that is due to expire in 36 hours. Or it could be reminders of birthdays for some of her major clients. The experience here has upped the game from a pure content site into an action resource for the agent that's flexible and can grow as quickly as the business demands to stay competitive. And for employee experience, the goals are exactly the same. In this diagram, you can see the power of the DX experience composition with headed and headless approaches to creating secure, scalable, and integrated self-service solutions that's been great for our 1,500 companies, customers worldwide. Specifically, the use of headless CMS and DAM with Proco frameworks such as React or portal capabilities, use React or traditional portlets, web apps or script apps as well, are fully supported in the DX stack. And that's all great. In the world of a multi-experience DXP, we've added new ways to compose an experience with no-code apps and automations. So with DX, you can use it headlessly, and you can actually use it headed with portal capabilities, and that's all fine. And in the world of multi-experience DXP, we've added new ways to compose an experience with no-code apps and automations. For example, creating an approval workflow that any practitioner can create or deploy themselves within an IT governance framework or set of guidelines. Here you can see how we can take advantage of the API economy. I'm sure you've heard about that, where every progressive organization, maybe your own, is looking to service enable their IT landscape and their operations and many of the resources they use externally. It's not just about having REST endpoints to your applications. Rather, it's about making them easily composable by business and making them governable by IT. But how do you get there? So let's start with this. So HCL has added an integration service into our latest DX CN offering. This means any existing or new Leap apps, web apps, using a REST API or services, or anything that use DDC or script apps can tap into your new ITSM system, your CRM, your ERP, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud. No coding is required, and it eliminates the cost of those expensive integrations of service investments like Workato, and all of this happens in real time. For example, I want to add prospect information from Salesforce to my agent portal you said earlier, or maybe I want to aggregate ticket information for an agent in a call center. Now, let's add one more piece to the multi-experience DXP story. There are three aspects to this second stage of the scenario. First, today's workforce and citizens are digital natives. Bring your own device is pervasive in the workforce as hybrid work is the norm. While DX provides mobile, web, and PWA options, creating native mobile tablet kiosk experiences requires another level of experience composition. So let's go back to that auto insurance example I mentioned earlier. You may want to take advantage of your phone's camera to take pictures or a video, or overlay GPS or weather information when you initiate a claim. You may need a native app or an application that requires data collected from a wearable device or some sort of thermostat. You may need a native app that shares the same services and content and processes on your website. Have you ever been in that situation with what you had in your mobile app doesn't match what you have on your customer portal? So creating those synergistic native experiences for those devices increases the quality of your moments of engagement with your customers or employees. If you're a DX customer who's invested in WEF or mobile first, we can help you create best-in-class mobile solutions and help you to get a 5-star in the App Store. Second, as I mentioned, leveraging data content application in minutes via a point-and-click integration layer is huge. For example, you can leverage a powerful BPM and business rule capability and orchestrate multiple processes for an outcome. Imagine originating a loan, opening an account, onboarding an employee. We all know that those are complex processes, and we make it very simple for you to do that. Aggregating everything from giving you access to facility, getting you an email ID, and delivering you a laptop. So we can simply integrate and aggregate all of those services into a single pane of glass. Third, we made it easier to create or replace or modernize your portlets or add new application logic for, say, a quote or a new service, perhaps from a third party. You can now do that very, very easily. You can use the full power of a low-code engine to create new web elements you can drop into your DX deployment environment in minutes. So let's see a demo of some of the multi-experience concepts I've shared with you.
Hello, everyone. So today I'd like to show you how Foundry can integrate data and applications for practitioners to use in the assembly of the experience in DX. So first, I want to introduce you to Foundry's tooling and walk through how you can use it to create application and data connectors, to create a web application using the Iris IDE, and to build and deploy the MX application, which then can be integrated into DX, while also making it available for standalone or mobile use as needed. Let's see. I'm going to start here in the Foundry console. We have an application already generated for an insurance quote. To get started here, I'm just going to open it up. Ultimately, Foundry does a great many things, but what it brings to the DX picture is a set of integration capabilities where I can build and integrate existing APIs, make connectors, do transformations on those API connections, and even provide a level of orchestration for the application that will end up generating an Iris. So let's get started, and I'm going to jump over into the integration tab. Here you can see I've got a number of connectors or services already connected into the application, just to kind of illustrate what capabilities there and how easily it is to get started building these applications. I'll show you there's a number of adapters that are out of box ready to go so that you can quickly integrate whatever kind of backend is necessary. These connectors are extensible. We have a marketplace filled with hundreds of additional connectors, but right out of the box, if I need a new MongoDB connection or OpenAPI, Salesforce connection, or even a generic JSON, XML, or SOAP connection, I can come in here and start building. It's a matter of configuration rather than writing new code. So let's have a look at one that's already been populated. And as a good example, we're going to choose this Google Maps API. Ultimately, the application we're going to generate is meant to build an insurance quote for a customer so that the practitioners can then leverage that in building out the experience. What you can see going on here with this Google Maps API is it's going to take the geolocation from the browser, use that to actually make a request to Google to generate the zip code and then pass it back. So ultimately, to show that, I'm going to go ahead and show you what's going on. So I'll fetch the response, and what we've set up here is actually a quick transformation. Let me show you. You can actually see there's quite a verbose response that comes back on this API call after we pass it the longitude and latitude, which of course the browser is handing to the API. So ultimately, the verbose response comes back, and we do a quick transformation, just bringing back the information we need. So the status code and the actual zip code. In this case, it's bringing back those three elements. So very quick and easy. These transformations are quite useful in making that available to the practitioner so they can assemble the content and applications on the page. So the second thing I wanted to kind of call attention to is this level of orchestration that Foundry brings to the mix. So in this case, the application we're building, again, is a auto insurance quote. And you can see here, basically the structure of the application, or the workflow that's actually associated with the backside of the UI that we'll generate here in a moment. So basically, at the highest level, each of these phases is part of the application's workflow. I start with a new quote, then I get the customer data in the input form, check the eligibility with a nice if-then, if-then statement here, whether the quote is eligible, or the customer rather is eligible or not. Then as long as it's not rejected, I'm going to pass the information from the customer data onto an AI that has been set up, or an AI model rather, that has been set up, and it's API connected through this configuration, and then pass that back into the application. So this is a way to kind of just illustrate what's going on in the back end of the application we're about to generate. Ultimately, you can see how useful that the capability of being able to quickly set up these integrations and the back-end workflow for the application and so on. Adding that into the DX mix is going to be a very powerful combination. When I'm done, it's simply a matter of publishing the application, which is then available for not only this app that we're going to generate, but any other app down the line. The data that's input into the application will also be available for practitioners to make use of in building out the experience. Okay, so this is the Iris IDE. Ultimately, we've got a project actually already published here for the insurance quote that we saw the workflow for in the Foundry console a moment ago. And ultimately, just to kind of peruse what's going on here with this project, you can see I've got a mobile design and layout. I've got a responsive web layout and all of the shared modules between the two. Ultimately, what this allows me to do is quickly use this library of, or palette, if you will, of elements that I can drag and drop onto the storyboard, generate the actual form that's going to be used by the workflow that we saw in Foundry, and ultimately align that UI to the services that we showed in the connections in Foundry. So I've got basically the first page of the quote open. Ultimately, the workflow that's facilitated, you of course saw the step where we were taking in the customer data. Next, we'll pass that data to the APIs after completed. And then at the end, ultimately pass the quote information back to the customer in this UI. This is a great place to kind of show some of the mapping and what's going on behind the scenes. So clearly you can see for each action that happens on this UI, I've got a way to kind of map those APIs and in this case, the results from the response for an API call back into the UI, similar to how we would do with Leap. In this, ultimately, after invoking the service for insurance data quote, we're going to wait for the response. And when we get the response, we'll go ahead and map the elements of that JSON in the response on this side, click to click with the form fields that we have in the UI. Ultimately, quite an easy way to kind of set up and map. To have a look at the sort of code that's being generated in the background, I've saved myself writing, in this case, about 60 lines of code that I then can actually save off, reuse later as reusable components for any other application, or even later in this application, other places. So it's quite powerful, very quick to generate these applications, and the reuse is actually my favorite thing about it. When I'm ready to build this and publish it out for, in this case, our practitioner to use to build into the broader digital experience, I have a number of options available. Now I can build this native mobile if I want. I can build this traditional web. In this case, that's what I'm going to do. Just build it for responsive web. But I even have options to to build the adaptive web mobile and tablet views at the same time if I need. So when I'm ready, the application can then be quickly built and published out to the web, and most importantly to the digital experience, so that then I can pass it on to my practitioners for the broader experience assembly. All right, so now I'd like to switch it up a bit and show you how you can use React in several applications, leveraging shared components deployed with the DX client to the app server and script applications deployed to the content management library, making it available for the practitioners for assembling the experience. These sample apps are available on our new DX marketplace, and in this case, they will provide me with a helpful jumpstart in building the insurance account management app. This is a common way to facilitate the use of headless frameworks and development approaches in the broader experience. With this approach, we can enable practitioners to intermingle modern front-end applications with Multi-X apps, portlets, content, and other JavaScript or legacy applications, anything that's required really. So now that we've built the MX app, let's have a look at some of the samples provided out in the marketplace. So I'm going to make use of this insurance sample that's basically a React app or collection of React apps where I can deploy some shared components into the app server and then leverage the script apps to deploy the actual React front-end apps. This will allow the administrators, the practitioners to assemble the experience as needed. So the first step is come out and I'm going to make use of Gradle to aid me in the build, fill out some of the information, and then leverage the DX client and Gradle in conjunction to build the application, push that out into the server. So first we'll do the build. Okay, now that that's built, we'll simply use DX Client to deploy the application out into the system. So now that we've built and deployed the shared modules, let's just go ahead and quickly point out that you can actually do the React development the same way you would if you were doing a headless application. Point of fact, you can use the exact same application as a headless application. So ultimately, render it outside of DX, within DX, it's completely your choice. You can do both at the same time, and it doesn't interrupt the development process. So in this case, we'll make a quick change to one of the applications. So quickly, we'll go ahead and start it. Okay, so now it's available. You can see this is just a header for my new members, policy management page. So it doesn't quite match the style. We'll quickly make a change, darken that gray, save, and then restart. Okay, so this is gonna work. I'm ready to actually push this one into the environment as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop development mode. Quickly build the app. And then once it's completed, simply pass DX Client the command to deploy the app into the server. So now we've shown how you can use Foundry to integrate data and applications for practitioners to use in the assembly of the experience in DX. If you have any questions, contact us for a more comprehensive and personalized demo.
Thanks, Rob. That was an awesome demo. So in summary, a multi-experience DXP approach is an essential investment for business aiming to maximize their CX and EX experiences in a timely manner with less cost and less complexity. It helps to break down those silos and increases engagement, which means happier customers and employees. And here's why. For employees working in hybrid or frontline roles, such as field service, you can streamline the processes and automation and offer new services that make it easier for them to get their job done, no matter what the complexity of the enterprise landscape is behind the scenes or using a multi-experience DXP. For marketers creating campaigns across digital and assisted channels such as the call center or AVR, you can create compelling moments of engagement, plus ensure a consistent and personalized omni-channel experience that offers the same experience and services across any of your channels, mobile, customer, portal, or the contact center, or your agent, resulting in faster outcomes and happier marketers, customers, and employees. So as you saw in Rob's demo, we've stepped up our game by delivering the DXP stack of the future, the Multi-Experience DXP. It changes the game on what you're able to imagine and deliver to magnify the impact of your CX and EX investments today with HCL DX. It lets IT focus on building and governing, and business, they can focus on assembling and building their solutions faster. To learn more about this latest release of DX and how to create your next Multi-Experience DXP solution, please contact an HCL sales representative or a business partner. Thank you for your time.